Okay. June 20 paper 6 variant 3. ماشي. مم. أول question هنا. A student determines the weight of the meter ruler. She uses the apparatus shown. The meter ruler is supported by pivot at the 10 centimeter mark and is suspended from a force meter at the 90 centimeter mark. The student places a 2 Newton weight at a distance of L from the pivot. This is the distance L from the pivot. She reads the force F on the force meter. Calculate the value of L from the readings taken from figure 1.2. عايزين نطلع
نعمل 26.6 minus 23.5 هتطلع 3.1.
26.6 ولا 0.5 هنا؟ 26.6 ولا 20؟ كده كده. لا 26.5 وهنا 23.5. So the width of this, okay, 26.5 minus 23.5 is gonna give me a width of what? Width أو يعني هنا of كام of 3. بس again, how can I find the center? How can I find the center of this point? يعني how can I find هنا the point of اللي هي center of mass or whatever? We find the average صح؟ 26.5 plus 23.5 divided by 2 صح؟ 26.5 plus 23.5 divided by 2 is 25 صح؟ يعني the center هنا is at what? At 25 mark. The center is at the 25 mark. So بصوا كده. Should I write down the length أو the distance L to be 25? Should I write down the distance L to be 25? Hmm? طب بصوا كده. بصوا. One second. What is distance L? ركزوا. What is distance L? It is the distance between the pivot and the center of the weight. It's the distance between ايه يا شباب ها? Between the pivot and the center of the weight. يبقى the pivot started at what? Pivot started at the 10 centimeter mark. Oh, he said the pivot was at the 10 centimeter mark. And now the center of this weight is at the 25 centimeter mark. صح؟ هنا 10 and this is 25. The distance between them is what? The distance between them is 15. 25. You have to do 25 minus 10 is what? Is 15. So basically, the distance between the center of this weight and the pivot was what? Was 15 centimeters. Okay? It's a difficult question. Yes, it is a difficult question. But that's the whole point of variant 3. That is the whole point of variant 3. Okay? And variant 3 is a little trickier. It is a little trickier than variant 1. Again, what did I do? Okay? خلي بالكوا this question, and it has several steps. What did I do? I found, first of all, the center of this weight. Where did it start? It started هنا at 23.5. And where did it end? It ended هنا at 26.5. So the center of the pivot, how do I find the center of this weight? How do I find the center of this weight? Using the average. Remember when I said we need to take the average of the numbers before and after the weight, before and after the object. 23.5 plus 26.5 divided by 2 would give me 25. This means This means that the center هنا, the center is at the 25 centimeter mark. Okay, the center is at the 25 centimeter mark. طيب, when the center is at 25 centimeter mark, does that mean that the distance between this mass or the distance between this weight and the pivot is 25? لا. The pivot was at the 10 centimeter mark and this was at the 25 centimeter mark, so the distance between them is 25 minus 10, which is 15 centimeters. Okay. ماشي. هنا read the value of f shown. Read the value of f shown on this force meter. Read the value of f. يلا قول لي.
1.3.
1 point ماشي 3 اهو ازاي I found 1.3 1 1.1 1.2 1.3 لا مش 1.7 لا لا مش 1.7 صح هي 1.3 خلي بالك ها 1.3 4 5 6 7 خلي بالك احنا we're counting من فوق لتحت we're counting this way that's not 1.7 it is 1.3 okay. Explain how the student makes sure that the ruler is horizontal before taking the reading. You may draw a diagram type. This is a nice question. How does he make sure that the ruler is horizontal? هنا يعني in this question I need to make sure that it is horizontal. I need to make sure it's not slanted or it doesn't have a slope or whatever. By a set square. ماشي حد بيقول by a set square. طبعا you can use a set square. Yes, you can use a set square and make sure it's perpendicular on either side. Yes. And there's another answer which I prefer for this question. Okay. انت عندك إجابة؟ Tries to balance. ما it
صراحة
is
لا.
balanced.
انا عايز اسال بس عشان مش فاهم حته السيتو سكوير دي يعني او بتترسم ازاي او.
بس again طب as for the answer of the set square what will I do هنا we will make sure we'll put the set square كده okay and make sure that it is 90 degrees and again put the set square on the other side and make sure it is also 90 degrees okay this is if you want to use the set square and there is another answer which I personally prefer okay it's يعني if you use the set square it's correct you will take the mark 100% and I personally prefer another answer which is what to just measure the distance between the ruler and the bench on both sides. Measure the distance between between the ruler and the bench on both sides and make sure that these both distances are equal. ما هو if they're not equal this means that it is bending or it is slanted towards one end. صح? Means that it is not perfectly horizontal. It needs to be exactly, for example, 20 centimeters on this side and exactly 20 centimeters on the other side. And that's the whole point. Okay. Do you need to draw? لا, you're not required to draw. You may. You may draw a diagram, but you're not required to draw a diagram. What will I do? I personally prefer this answer, which is simply measure, okay, the distance between the ruler, okay, between the ruler and the bench on both sides, and make sure they are equal, and make sure they're equal. Okay, they are equal. حلو. حلو. ماشي. يلا. Next question. طبعا I have to draw a graph. I have to plot the graph. Plot f slash n on the y-axis. يلا. First mark f slash n and L slash centimeters on the x-axis. Okay. Start your axes from the origin. خلاص يبقى I have to start from the origin. You must start from the origin. And the question? Hmm. طيب ال F. How should I scale the F axis? You have a question? طب قولي لي.
1.5 1 point يعني لا 1.25 بعد كده 1.5 بعد كده 1.75
يعني انت you'll start the first square هنا at 1.25.
أو لا 1.5 بعد كده 2 بعد كده 2.5
لا برضو you can't do that برضو. That's wrong. You can't start from 1.5 and then go to 2.5. ليه? Okay, if you start at 1.5 and then move on to 2.5, the initial difference would be هنا the difference would be 1.5, and then if you put in a 2.5 then the difference in is 1. لا, that's wrong. Can't do that. خلاص. طب let's see another answer. احنا we can scale it using yes 0.5. Okay. Okay. 0.5. يعني ايه 0.5؟ initially I will start هنا 0 and then the next one is 0.5 1.0 1.5 2. okay 2.5 وهو عايز that's the maximum 2.5. اوكي خلي بالكم يا شباب. again احنا what should we do? We need to scale the graph as much as possible. We need to spread out the numbers as much as possible. Okay, you need to spread out the numbers as much as possible. If you start with, for example, if you start off with 1.25 and you wanted to start off with 1.25 صح, and then the next one would have been 2.5. لا, that's wrong. ليه؟ عشان all of the numbers would be plotted in this part, and then what about the rest of the graph? That's a waste of graph زي ما بحب أقول. That's a waste of graph. You can't do that. That would have been probably wrong. Okay? قولي لي.
ممكن نخليها 1.2 بعدين 1.4 وكده
فين؟
في اللي هو اللي احنا
y
بنعمله ده بدل
axis
0.5.
برضو again you can't start zero. انت عايز تبتدي 0 1.2 1.4 1.6 صح. المشكلة في ايه؟ initially the difference هنا was what? The initial difference was what? Was 1.2, and then the difference is 0.2, which is wrong. I can't do that. The difference يا شباب, the difference has to be constant throughout the whole axis. Okay, throughout the whole axis. On the y-axis, the difference between each successive square has to be the same. So if you start from 0, and that's a must, I have to start from 0. طب is it the best, بصوا, is it the best choice to start from 0? لا, it's not the best choice. But I have to do that. Why? Because he told me. He told me you have to start from the origin. خلاص, I have. طب in other questions, he says you're not required to start from the origin. Then I won't start from the origin. Okay, but this question he told me you must start from the origin. خلاص, that's it. I have to do that. So, what about the x-axis? 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Probably I will move by tens. Let's try it out. 10, 20, 30, 40. 50 and 60. And again, you cannot start 0, 20, 30. لا, that would be wrong. 0, 20, 30. That's wrong. You have to go 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 60. Yeah, let's plot the numbers. They seem to be quite easy. 20, 1.35. Yeah, I'll zoom in سنة. 20, 1.35. The 1.35 would be below the 5. 1.5 would be 3 squares. 3 squares below the 1.5. 30 and 1.6, that's 2 squares above the 1.5. يلا. 41.9, that's 2 squares below the 2. يلا. 52.15. 2.15, that's 3 squares above the 2. 62.45, that's 1 square below the 2.5. Okay. 2 squares below, sorry, 1 square below the 2.5. حلو. حلو كده. طيب, let's draw the line of best fit and extend the line of best fit يا جماعة to the y-axis. I'll draw the line of best fit and I will extend it until it reaches the y-axis. Okay. Okay. I extended the line until it reached the y-axis. The question is, determine from the graph F0 when L was equal to 0. Can I find the force when L was equal to 0? Can I find the force when L was equal to 0? يلا. It's an easy question. When L was equal to 0, I'll just check this number هنا. So this would be 0.8. this would be 0.8 newtons. Yeah, 0.8 newtons. Okay, احنا all I did was I extended the line until it reached the y-axis, and then I found a number. هنا the y-axis would have been ايه 0.8. Okay, طبعا there's a range. Okay, you can be a little bit above it, 0.85, a little bit below it, 0.75, it's okay. There is a range, don't worry. Okay, maybe 0.70, maybe 0.90, can go up and down a little. Okay, طيب حلو. يلا, let's remove this and move on to the next question. Find WR, the weight of the ruler. WR equals 2 times F0. Yeah, that's easy. 2 times 0.8. I have F no. Yeah, but 2 times F 0.8 is what? Is 1.6 newtons. صح? 1.6 newtons. Yeah. Any questions? Any questions? Yeah. Another student carrying out this experiment finds it difficult to be sure that he has placed the center of the 2 Newton weight on the on the meter ruler at the correct value of L. Suggest a more precise method of applying the 2 Newton load to the meter ruler in this experiment. What is a more accurate method? How can he do it better? Okay. To the load so that it is hanging. Okay. Apply it on a flat surface. Okay. Hmm. Um, hmm. What other answers يا جماعة؟ ماشي. انتي قولي لي كده.
ممكن نفضل نحرك اللود لحد ما يبقى بالانس.
اوكي, ما احنا كده كده احنا we are يعني ايه, احنا هنفضل كده كده we will change the position of the load until it balances. بس again, whenever it balances, it's still difficult to maintain this balance. Okay, it is difficult to maintain this balance. try more values. لا, don't try more values. انتي قولي لي كده. هم. It would be يعني flat surface correct. لا, flat surface is يعني not correct. بصوا, it's better to hang the load from above. Okay, to make sure that the load is hanged from above. Why? Because then you can make sure إن هو it is quite balanced. Okay, it's not loose. So I can hang the load from above the ruler. Okay, it's a very trivial and stupid answer, I know, but again, this is paper 6. A lot of the answers that you would write, they would be considered to be correct. A lot of the answers that you would write down would be considered to be correct. يبقى hang the weight of the load above from above the ruler. اوكي, حلو. هم. عندك سؤال؟
مستر، هو انا لو دلوقتي قلت مثلا انا ممكن اجيب transparent load عادي ولا لا؟
لا, بص, هو transparent load ده if you can't determine the center of the load. Okay, احنا initially in the first question خالص, what did we do? We found the center of the load by taking the average. Okay, خلاص, we overcame this difficulty. بس هنا the difficulty, okay, هنا the difficulty is what يا جماعة? The difficulty is that we can't make sure that it is balanced. Okay, a student carrying out the experiment finds it difficult to be sure that he has placed the center on the correct value of L. Again, يعني you placed it خلاص. And I need to find a different solution. This was one of the solutions, taking the center or taking the average distances. Using a transparent load might be correct. Okay, might be correct. Not 100% correct. Again, paper 6, there are many, correct answers. It's not a must that your answer is wrong. But again, it's not a must that it could be correct. But this might be a better answer. That's all I'm saying. ماشي. Okay, moving on to a much easier question using the circuits. I need to complete the circuit using an ammeter and using a voltmeter to find the voltage of the resistor. طيب, that's easy. يعني an ammeter, I can draw the ammeter on the left or on the right. على فكرة, I can draw the ammeter on the left or on the right. And then a voltmeter in parallel, above or below. صح? Above or below. And this remaining part will just close it up. خلاص, كده I completed the circuit. كده you completed the circuit. ماشي. حلو. ماشي. يلا next question. يلا, هو في حد قال حاجة؟ Okay, next question. Read the values VI and I1. V1 and I1. What's V1? يلا, حد يقول لي what was V1? 2 point لا, مش 2.8, لا 2.8 غلط. 2.8 غلط, 2.4 صح. 2.4 volts. I1 is I1 is ايه يا شباب؟ قول لي كده.
0.48.
0.48 طبعا. حلو. And then طبعا he will ask me to find the resistance R equals V over I have V and I have I. 2.4 divided by 0.48. Yeah, 2.4 divided by 0.48 would give me an answer of 5. حلو. What is the unit? ما تنسوش اليونت, okay, of the resistance ohm. صح؟ ohm. برافو. Now I connect two resistors in series as shown. Calculate R2. ماشي, that's easy. V2 over 2 times I2. V2 over 2 times خلاص, I have the V2, I have the I2. 2.7 over 2 times 2.6, which is 5.2 ohms. صح؟ عندك سؤال؟ 5.2 ohms.
مستر احنا
مم.
احنا يعني اصلا الصفحة ديت واللي بعديها
ماشي,
واللي
it's okay.
بعديها
It's okay. It's
في
okay.
المدرسة.
It's okay. مش مشكلة. Okay. R3. يلا, احنا we know R3 خلاص, that's easy. V3 times 2, which is 2.3 times 2 over 0.94, which would give me a final answer of final answer of كام يا شباب؟ 5.2 برضو. 5.2. اوكي, ماشي. 5.2 ohms. ولا لا, 4.9 صح. This is not 5.2, this is 4.9. يلا. 4.8 ولا 4 يلا, طلعناها كام؟ قول لي كده.
دي 4.9.
4.9 ohms. Okay. Another student suggests that R1, R2, and R3 should be equal. R1 was 5, R2, 5 يا شباب, don't write down 5, write it down as 5.0, which should be better. Okay. 5.0. R2 is 5.2, R3 is 4.9. Are they equal? Definitely yes. Yes, they are equal. Yes, they are equal. يلا. Then justification. Again, I told you, what do I mean by justification? It means that I have to write down the numbers. Okay? I have to prove with the use of the numbers. يلا. 5, 5.2 and 4.9 are close. صح? They are close and within. Yes, very close. برافو عليك. Very close and within the limits of within the limits of experimental accuracy. يلا, accuracy. A student wants to determine R1 by using the potential divider to vary the potential difference. Draw the symbol for a potential divider. A symbol for a potential divider is the variable resistor. صح? Symbol for the potential divider is the variable resistor أو a potentiometer. Okay, variable resistor or the potentiometer يعني I can either draw a variable resistor هنا which would be much easier. طيب briefly explain how the use of a potential divider may give a more reliable hmm. عندك ها قولي لي may give
ثانية. لا خلاص.
okay um more values okay current can be controlled take more values and repeat and take average yes شباب whenever I say more reliable values okay يبقى how will I use it I will use it to take more readings okay I will take more values for the resistance and for the voltage and for the current and measure the resistance and then make sure that the resistance I found three resistances in this question طب I can find four, I can find five, six صح؟ I have to repeat the experiment at least 5 times صح؟ يبقى repeat the experiment and take more values and take more than 5 values صح؟ More than 5 values. That's the whole point of paper 6. Again, paper 6 is all about repeating, okay? Take more values, more than 5 values and take average. Oh, and take average. خلاص حلو ماشي when do I say current can be controlled if he says what is the use of a variable resistor okay what is the use of a variable resistor okay potential divider we can either draw it this way or we can draw اللي هو using the sliding contact okay they both have the same functionality using a sliding contact ماشي ماشي student is determining the focal length قول لي measure the distance u how can I measure طبعا using the ruler صح
3.8
ماشي 3.8 centimeters and ال V
8.4
طيب ايه 8.4 ماشي بصوا يا شباب 3.8 that's the value you calculated or you measured using your ruler is that the same value as the marking scheme لا طب what's the difference it has to do with the printing of your paper okay the printing usually prints a smaller scale just a small difference into you measured using a the ruler it was 3.8 طيب the marking scheme it wrote down 4 centimeters okay I'll use 4 centimeters the V and you measured 8.4 the marking scheme wrote down 8.6 طب am I wrong لا you're not wrong it has to do with the printing okay the printing of the paper ماشي مش مشكلة figure 3.1 is drawn 1/5 the scale. What do I mean by 1/5 the scale? يعني what should I do to u? What should I do to the small u? I have to multiply it by 5. 1/5 multiplied by 5. 4 times 5. 4 times 5 would give me 20 centimeters. Of course, if you had measured it 3.8, it would have been 19. Okay? If you had measured it 3.8 times 5 is 19. But it's okay if you wrote down 19. And I'm telling you it should be 4 because of the marking scheme of the actual paper. Okay انت عندك you have a question يلا 8.6 times 5 would be كام 43 صح
مستر
40
هو دلوقتي ليه عملناها 3.8 times قصدي عملناها 4 times 7 مش 3.8 times 5
again علشان why did I use 4.0 عشان this is the actual scale that was used in the marking scheme انت if you write down 3.8 it's not wrong it would be right بس خلي بالك عشان ايه يعني عشان نبقى كلنا the same answer okay so that we would all have the same answer okay يلا can I calculate F1 طبعا I can calculate F1 UV over U plus V يلا 20 times 43 over يلا حد يكالكوليت كده بسرعة over 20 plus 43 يلا can you calculate it بسرعة يلا يا شباب can you calculate it بسرعة. it should be around hmm. يلا it should be around كم قولي لي.
13.70.
13.7. What is the unit?
um, meters أو centimeters.
Centimeters. Okay, not meters. You have to write down centimeters. Yes, برافو. ماشي. Briefly explain or describe the technique to obtain an image on the screen that is sharp as possible. طبعا to find a sharp image on the screen. There's a simple technique. What do we do? We always said move. So we have to move the object. So we have to move the screen. Use a dark room. بص using a dark room is one of the precautions. Okay, larger object لا, not a larger object. احنا the technique has to do with moving one of the apparatuses I have. Usually I can move the screen slowly. Okay, move the screen slowly until a sharp image appears. Until a sharp or until clear image appears. Okay. يلا. Next question. The student keeps the screen in the same position until a sharp image of this triangle is seen on the screen. Measure the distance V between the lens and the screen. يلا, I can measure this distance using a ruler. This distance would be 3.5 centimeters. Again, when you measure it using your ruler, it might be 3.3, 3.4 centimeters. Okay, لكن the marking scheme stated that it was 3.5. خلاص احنا we want to have all of the same answer. So 3.5 centimeters. It's 1/5 the scale. Again, if it's 1/5 the scale, what do I do? 3.5 times 5. 3.5 times 5 is 17.5 centimeters. صح. So 1/5, 1/10 the scale, then I will multiply by 10. ماشي. Measure H note and measure H1 برضو using the ruler. Okay, احنا we use the ruler too much in this exam. Yeah, the first one is 2 centimeters and the second one is 0.8 centimeters. 2.0 centimeters and the other one is 0.8 centimeters. Again, your readings could be a little smaller. Calculate the value for the magnification HI over H0. يلا, can someone calculate it and tell me? 0.8 over 2.0. That would be كام؟ يلا. 0.8 divided by 2.0 is what? 0.4. صح. 0.4. طيب, does it have a unit? لا. It does not have a unit. It does not have a unit. It's a ratio. It's scale. Okay. It is a ratio or a scale. It does not have a unit. Type. Moving on to the next question. Moving on to the next question. Calculate a second value f2. Yes, I can calculate f2. v over m plus 1. What's v? إيه ده؟ فين v? إيه ده؟ إيه v دي؟ ها؟ إيه؟ 17.5. صح؟ يلا 17.5 over m plus 1. 0.4 plus 1. يلا, can someone calculate it? What is f2? What is f2 in this question? يلا بسرعة. 17.5 over 1.4 is 12.5. صح. 12.5. حلو. State one precaution that he must take to ensure that the measurements are as reliable as possible. قول لي كده.
Take reading perpendicularly.
Take the reading perpendicularly. Okay. هنا when I'm talking about the precautions of the readings سهلة جدا. Yes, it's very easy. When I'm talking about the precautions of the readings, the ruler, the distances, take the readings perpendicularly. Okay. Take the readings perpendicularly. طيب explain why method 2 is likely to produce a less accurate value for the focal length than method 1. Why is method 2 probably going to give us a less accurate value? Measuring the height. You said measuring the height. Um, that's actually correct. Yes. Because measuring the height of the scale H0 and H1 هنا, it's more difficult. It's more difficult to measure this height, this very small height. It's more difficult to measure the height of these triangles. Okay, it's more difficult. Oh, more difficult to measure the heights. Okay, of the triangles. Okay. Type suggest one improvement to make method 2 more accurate. How can I improve method 2? um اوكي حد بيقول larger object. اوكي
نقرب الرولر
ايه
من الترينجل.
ده ايه؟
اقرب الرولر من الترينجل.
لا 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 هو نقرب الرولر. لا ruler when the ruler is closer to the triangle, that's one of the initial precautions. بس لا, that's not how to improve the accuracy of this question. Okay, and this question how to improve the accuracy, خلي بالكم it is فعلا زي ما okay, it is to use a larger object. خلي بالكم يا شباب, when I'm talking about small objects 2 centimeters and 0.8 centimeters, the percentage of error could be very high when I'm talking about very small objects. That's why whenever I have a larger object, a much larger object, the percentage of error, what happens to it? It decreases. Okay, so use larger objects, which is correct. Yes, use ايه يا شباب؟ larger objects. حلو. جميل. Moving on to the investigation. سؤال دي اي what's happening ايه question دي اي ايه المشكلة؟ انت بتقول ايه؟ قريبة more difficult to measure the heights of the triangle عشان they are close. مش فاهم ايه قصدك.
قصدي اقول ان الميثود 2 لينس كانت تو كلوز تو ذا سكرين يعني ولا؟
لا 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 لا. ماشي. اوكي. يلا planning investigation, plan an experiment which will enable him to investigate. Okay, دلوقتي what's he doing? A student investigates the factors affecting the electrical output of a solar cell. The electrical output of a solar cell. The solar cell, which is the device اللي هو بتاع solar energy يعني, we know it. Plan an experiment which will enable him to investigate how the potential difference across the terminals of the solar cell varies with the angle of incident light. How? بصوا كده. How احنا we want to the potential difference across the terminals, the output voltage will vary. How will it differ with the angle of the incident light? What is the variable that I will be changing? What's the variable that I will be changing? قول لي كده.
الانجل بتاعت
الانجل صح. الانجل صح. الانجل of the solar cell. يبقى initially I will tell him والله the range of values. What is the range of values? The independent variable. The range of values. What is the independent variable? The angle of the قول لي ايه سؤالك of the solar cell.
مستر وانا في الامتحان عادي هكتب له بالليستنج كده مش هيقول
Yes
حاجة.
yes ايوه ايوه. You can write down points عادي خالص. It's okay. ماشي
تمام.
تمام. Angle of the solar cell I will put in different values for the angle. 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15, 20 and 25 degrees. Okay, دايما we have to write down at least 5 values. ماشي. Okay, this is the variable that I will be changing, the range of values. These are some apparatuses in your plan. You should list any additional apparatuses needed, state the key variables. Now we need to see what are the apparatuses, what are the controlled variables. طب, for example, let's start off with the controlled variables. What are the controlled variables in this question? Controlled variables. ايه هما الكنترول فاريبل؟ قول لي كده.
اللايت انتنسيتي، الديستانس،
اوكي. ايه تاني؟ كان في حد عنده سؤال. حد. light intensity is correct. اوكي.
والديستانس بين اللامب والسولار.
Okay. The distance is very important. Distance between the lamp and the solar cell. حلو.
ينفع اقول هايت اوف لامب ولا مش هيفرق؟
It's not wrong. Okay. The height of the lamp. ماشي. ماشي. طيب حلو. We wrote down the controlled variables. What are some apparatuses that I will be using? What are some apparatuses؟ يلا قولي لي.
فولت ميتر وبروتراكتور.
voltmeter, protractor. صح. To measure the distance we need the meter ruler as well. Correct. Voltmeter, protractor, ruler. حلو. حلو. excellent. ماشي. A meter. لا بصوا if we write down a meter it's not wrong بس we don't need it. We do not need a meter in this question. Why? Because I'm not measuring the current. He stated very clearly that I need to measure the potential difference, not the current. And I'm not going to measure the resistance. صح? I'm not going to measure the resistance. But I'm going to measure the potential difference in which I will require the voltmeter alone. بس. صح? يلا. Any additional apparatuses, we write them down. Explain briefly. Use the table and conclusion. طيب. What is the method? What are the steps that I will do? ايه هي الستبس؟ قولي لي.
مثلا هن يعني connect leads للسولار سيل واللامب we're gonna يعني position lamp to the correct angle of incidence measure الفولتج اللي بتطلع from the certain angle of incidence.
Okay. Okay, I can connect the voltmeter to the output of the solar cell. And then measure the angle using measure the angle using the protractor. Okay, and then measure or take the reading of the voltage. ايه سؤالك؟ take.
عايز بس هنخلي ازاي الانتنسيتي بتاعت اللايت كونستنت او هنثبت
يعني it's the same bulb وخلاص. Okay.
ماشي.
Take the reading of the potential difference. Potential difference from the voltmeter. And then we must say, شباب, you have to say, what should I say? We have to repeat the experiment, repeat the procedure for, repeat the procedure for the other angles. For the other angles. We have to say that. We have to repeat the procedure for the other angles. طيب. حلو. Connect the voltmeter and then measure the angle and then take the reading of the potential difference, take the reading of the voltage, and then repeat the process using different angles. Okay? Then what should I do? I have to draw the table. Again, the table, it would be a very simple table. Okay. Not much to write down in this table. I can put only two columns. First one is the angle, and the unit of the angle is the degrees, and the other one is the potential difference. Okay, with a unit of a V, voltage, volts. ماشي. ادي التable. Last but not least, we need to write down the conclusion. Conclusion, a very systematic conclusion. We always say we have 3 points to write down the conclusion. Repeat and take average, record the readings in the table, and and compare the results of the angle with the potential difference. يلا. Repeat يلا. For each angle, repeat and take average. Repeat and take average. Record the readings. يلا. Record the readings in the table. In the table. Then, after I record the readings in the table, what should I do? Compare the results. Compare the results of the angle with the potential difference. بس كده. Okay, that's it. Precautions. لا احنا we don't need to write down precautions. He didn't state explicitly that we have to write down any precautions. That's it. Okay شباب. Okay, حلو.